This is the Troutbitten podcast.
Troutbitten.
Troutbitten?
Troutbitten.
Troutbitten.
Troutbitten?
Yeah, Troutbitten.
Troutbitten.
It's about trout.
Wild trout.
This is Troutbitten.
This is the Troutbitten podcast. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Dominic Swantowski. I'm the owner of Troutbitten and the author of Troutbitten.com. All right, we're back here with the full crew, and tonight we want to talk about the flies that catch big trout. So you've probably heard this question 100 times, right? What's the best fly for catching big fish? Somebody replies with their story about a black woolly bugger. Then the next guy says he caught the biggest trout of his life on a tiny midge pupa in a surface film. And for sure, as we like to say, everything works sometimes. You'll find many anglers dedicated to the slogan of big flies for big trout. Big bait brings them in, right? So tie on your biggest streamer. Another group is going to insist that the biggest trout are exclusively night feeders. So the best way to catch them is a big mouse pattern on top. Then sometimes it's a smaller mouse pattern at night. And then it's a woolly bugger again, right? And finally, some great fishermen in the hatch matching crowd are tuned into locating the biggest trout during the best bug hatches and picking off those trout that are so focused on an opportunity of abundance that they let their guard down. For sure, all of these are good answers, and each strategy meets a moment. So tonight, we'd like to talk through some of these situations and focus on the flies themselves. If you're really targeting a big trout, when does a streamer seem like the best choice? And what qualities in that streamer help not just to get a trout's attention, but convince them to eat the fly? Likewise, when might a dry fly have the best chance at fooling a fish? And when is a wet fly or a nymph the best choice? So we focus a lot on the presentation of all these flies. It's presentation over pattern. And I'm sure we'll talk about some tricks for fishing these flies. But tonight, let's focus mostly on the flies themselves. The size, the shape, weight, color, flash. Whether it's a dry fly, nymph, wet, or streamer, what are the qualities of a pattern that we have confidence will interest bigger fish? Or the biggest fish. So we'll get to all of that in a moment, but let me first introduce the Troutbitten guys, my best fishing buddies, all of whom I think have gone through periods where big trout were a primary target. Delly, I know you've focused quite a bit on big fish in your days. Bill Dell, right here.
Yes. Anymore, I guess I'm in a phase where I don't care. Well, if I would say I'm hunting big fish, it's big brookies now. Like, that's my goal.
That's cool, too.
If the streams ever get water in them again. That would be cool.
We don't get that. We don't get that around here. We got a little bit, though, right? That last, we got that little spike.
We got a
36-hour spike.
Yeah, we got a day of water.
Day and a half. All right. Hey, Austin Dando's with us. How old's Brookie now, bud?
Oh, 5.5 months.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Are you going to introduce her to big trout?
Brook trout probably first, yeah.
There you go, right?
Yep.
So if you're going through a big fish finding phase, Dando, young love.
Probably not as much as the rest of you. I don't know. I've never been a trophy hunter. Maybe I will go through that phase later on, but I've never committed like every fishing trip for a year to just going looking for big fish.
Yeah. Dr. Trevor Smith is with us. You rushed in, drove as fast as you could.
As fast as I could.
To get here. Now you, I know, have focused on some big fish, especially at night.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't honestly. I think the big fish is certainly one of the reasons.
Part of the
you
draw.
Keep fishing at night. Yeah, for sure. I was trying to think if otherwise I don't think in the daytime I've ever really truly focused on big fish, but I think within days of fishing, I've sometimes gotten to a point in the day where I'm like, let me see if I can catch a different class fish in the same, in this water that I'm fishing, which then leads into all the things that we'll talk about as far as like fly selection and stuff like that. But yeah, it's fun. I mean, I think it's fun even just as like you assume those bigger fish are some of the wiser, maybe a little bit more experienced fish in the water. And so
when
there is
wild.
A sense of accomplishment.
If they're stocked, I say when they're wild, but if they're stocked,
right.
the longer they're in a hatchery, the dumber they are when they're in there.
That's right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
When they're finally put in the stream.
Meatheads.
It got no sense at all.
Yep. No.
Now we have Matt Grobe from Montana, a bit of a trophy hunter, right?
I like big
Just
fish.
shot
this week. Whew.
Yeah, tell everybody what you just shot yesterday.
I shot
Not a fish.
Yeah, I was trophy hunting, not really, but came across a trophy elk that was bigger than I could imagine because it's only the second bull I've harvested since moving out here. And yeah, I was telling these guys before the podcast started, it's a insanely big creature that I got mad respect for. And, you know, it's the amount of horn on my bull is huge. And I don't know, I'm not good at scoring. I haven't been in the sport long enough to be, you know, savvy in guessing, but I'm going to get somebody to look at it and tell me what it is. But you know,
mean what it weighs?
No, the horns, like the inches, like
there's like a measurement for that.
Yeah, just like there is with whitetail. Like, you know, you guys be big whitetails, Doc, right? Like 120-inch whitetail back home's a good buck, right? Like you get into that 120 to 150-inch class of a whitetail, anybody's happy with that.
It's a great buck in Pennsylvania for sure.
Yeah. So
and
out here,
there's exceptions out there, but yeah,
sure. I think 300 inches is like a mark that people, you know, that's like a bragging mark once you get that and bigger. So I'm hoping mine's 300. I think it will be
for sure.
But I'll update you next week when I get the score back.
What are the measurements on your big fish?
As far as what I think is a big fish?
Yeah.
I think that's important for the episode, right? Like,
sure.
But, you know, in general, I think every stream has its variances based on like the species you're targeting. And, you know, Austin mentioned brook trout, and a big trout in a brook trout stream might be 9, 10, 11, 12 inches, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so, but for me, I think it's 20 plus.
Yeah.
Anything over 20 inches to me is a big fish.
That's good. And you've gone through your time chasing them, really focusing on them.
Yeah, almost, you know, to the point of obsession.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
and we had, like Pat was always like that too. He still kind of is, right?
He's
I remember
still
him
got it,
saying,
yeah.
I know. I remember him saying, I don't want to fish one of our smaller streams. He's like, the fish aren't big enough. And I said, oh, you're going to be ruined. Midget Creek. That's what we called it.
Midget Creek.
Are you allowed to say that, Trevor?
Yeah, you can say that.
Is it okay? Are we allowed?
Yeah. Little Fish Creek.
Little Fish Creek. Little,
I don't know. Fish don't have
Damn it, we're
feelings,
going to say it.
So
I'm leaving it in.
Yeah.
That's what we called it. They were smaller fish on average.
That's what I never got that bad though.
No,
maybe a couple years, but then I'd be just as happy catching small native fish. And but you know, there's definitely a mindset you have to have, I think, personally, when you're out there trying to consistently get them.
I would say it's more like hunting at that point. It's not necessarily fishing, like you just talked about, like hunting and stuff for elk. Like I think it's literally hunting big fish, I feel like, a lot of times.
Yeah, there's a mindset for sure. So we've all kind of gone through it, or some of us are still in it, I suppose, in and out of it, all that. All I'm saying is I think we have enough experience here to have some opinions on, you know, at least we know what our preferences are for the flies that we're going to select to, you know, chase big fish. Let's start with a question, though. Get a bunch of these coming in. Really don't want to go through a whole bunch of questions. I just picked one again this week. Everybody out there who sends them in, you know, I always reply to you. But I don't know. We just pick one or two per episode. And maybe, you know, toward the end of the season here, we'll do a whole bunch of questions in one episode like we've done a couple other times. Because I don't like to leave you hanging. Too. And what you get back is like just my opinion on your question. Somebody read it.
Yeah, I love reading.
I know you do, Dr. Trevor.
All right. So this one's from Mark through email. Dom and the Troutbitten group, I really enjoyed your talk about the cicadas. I'm from the eastern part of the state, but I made several trips to your area while trying to have action that would match the cicada hype. It was frustrating, and I didn't find anything like the action you described in your wrap-up podcast. While listening to you guys talk, I think my flies might have been too big, and I concentrated my time in one spot too much. This makes me feel better and worse at the same time. So I guess I'm saying thanks for the podcast. Here's what's on my mind. Do you guys think those two rules transfer to regular fishing too? I mean, away from the cicadas. Tell Bill Dell I feel his pain. Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
That's like
That was pretty
backhanded.
good.
That is good.
Yeah.
I feel like he got a little dig in there, didn't he? Like he got a little dig. Like he's trying to be nice to me. He pretends he's trying to be nice to Bill, but he gets a little dig at him.
Yeah, I did just as well as Bill.
Oh no, I would think I said that I didn't have as good a luck as you did. I just didn't hit the timing right.
Right,
Oh,
that's what we said. Mainly it was because I was on the
think
water
that's-
every day.
I'm hoping that's what he's alluding to. That, or I just suck. It's one of the two.
Yeah, and we talked about like how you had to move, right?
Right.
Like there were even the same river with cicadas all along the banks, there were some pieces of water where they were on and somewhere they weren't.
And that was not how it was before. Again, we talked about it, but I guess he's asking if fishing a smaller fly than, let's say, the natural and covering water, always holds. Is that what he said? Do you think those two rules transfer to regular
do they
fishing
transfer?
too?
I think it transfers. I mean, I think and I wouldn't say like always smaller than the natural, but I would say like if you have a range of naturals that are like 18 to 20 or 18 to like 14, I think in general, you're going to appeal to most fish with the 18 and you might appeal to some fish. I don't know if you're missing out on any fish with the 18, right? Like, I think, the question would be is like, are there some fish that are just targeting the bigger naturals? But I don't know that I ever have felt like that was happening.
Yeah, I think it depends on the bug too, like the bug species.
Sure.
Yeah.
I found like sometimes oversized caddis can work, but sometimes an oversized mayfly for me doesn't have the same effect. Not sure what that is, but I can't think of many times that like the fish are being really selective and me upsizing my pattern gave me more success. It feels like more often than not downsizing the pattern, maybe just by one size. Then the natural on the water often change things for me. In terms of covering water, I mean, finding feeding fish is always the thing, right? I mean, you can cast over fish, but if they're not feeding, then you're kind of licked anyhow. So I always think about, even this morning, I was thinking about Sloop, and Sloop's whole thing he'd always tell me is, we can't dilly-dally, no dilly-dallying. So I always think about that. Try not to dilly-dally out there.
What do you think out west, Grobe?
Yeah, I think when it comes to that particular bug, like he asked, does it transfer to all insect hatches? I think with mayflies, because their profile is so slender, that downsizing often hits home a little better. Now, with the fat cicada, right? Like getting the profile right on I think of the cicada like a grasshopper or
I was gonna
a big salmon fly.
What's your opinion on that?
And
you talking about what? Size 6, 4,
yeah,
6s?
Sixes. But if you look at that silhouette in the water, and everyone's tying this stuff with foam.
Yeah, right.
It's really different from how you're capturing a mayfly profile. And so when you're capturing the foam profile, some guys cut it too wide, right? And it just looks wider in the water than or maybe not wide enough. And so I find playing with that sizing when it comes to these big terrestrials, which we'll consider it, or a big stonefly, is really important with that particular insect. And we classify it as terrestrials, stoneflies, anything to size hook and bigger, right?
Yeah.
That you really should be tying those in a few different patterns. And it's been a while. I don't know if the cicadas, if the males and females are all the same sizes, but I know with stoneflies, like the female or the males can be smaller than the females or vice versa. I forget which one it is. And so sometimes a slender downsizing pattern for that particular instance, it's not just, they're hitting, a smaller pattern. It's like, no, they're hitting the females that, or the males that are more active on the banks and in the water that particular day. That's my theory.
Yeah, I think that downsizing matters more the bigger the fly gets. You brought up an interesting point about the width of it. I think we all think of the length, at least I do. And I've really stopped thinking in terms of hook size. When it comes to streamers, and now you could say like bigger dry flies too. Like you say size 6, well, what brand is it? Is it 1X long, 2X long? Is it standard? That doesn't
Curved
tell me
hook.
much. Exactly.
Yeah.
And especially with streamers, But again, with dries of this size, like that doesn't tell me much that you were fishing a size 6. But if you say it was 1.5 inches long, now I know something. But here
True.
you're talking about how wide is it too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
That's
think of it.
interesting.
It's part of the profile, right? When those fish look
Mhm.
up and look at that silhouette, I often think that silhouette is as important as anything. Keller, whatever. Like, I try to get that profile as close as I can when it comes to dry flies.
I like to get it as close as I can on those big flies and then go a little bit smaller. And man, I don't have the experience that you do with the hoppers and the stone flies, but I can just say, well, I know it was 17 years in between doing this, but going under on that made a big difference for me. Slightly undersized. If the real bug was 2 inches, then I was trying to be 1 3/4 inches. Seriously. I mean, I actually had a ruler out and I was measuring them.
Do you have cutters?
How do you mean cutters?
Like
What's
foam cutters?
I
With
just
the
use
body
scissors.
profiles? Like you just,
Oh, no.
so
You
how
need
did
to
you
round
cut?
them and stuff like that.
Yeah, how did you do your cicadas? Just curious.
Just with scissors.
Okay.
Scissors.
Yeah, so I would tell cicadas, like I said, that's a very unique bug hatch, but I do think there's some stuff out there that resembles it. But you can get cutters, metal cutters that you just, like you're cookie cutting, and you hit the foam and it's really slender and slick. And I find that as a nice tool for my fly tying bench.
That's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
Good idea. You could get custom cutters, right? From Matt will
Yeah.
make 'em for you.
There's a company, I think it's a Montana company, of course, the land of the chubby, right?
That's where you have to be.
Yeah, but
If you're
you can
a fly fishing company.
you can
It's a rule.
you can get the cutters and they keep things consistent with the pattern.
No, I didn't even know that existed. Everything's new. I missed the big bugs, man. That's why I wanted to talk about this. We all right? Let's move into it. Trevor, you cool?
Yeah. Yep, we're good.
So I want to tell you about one of the best ideas and coolest products I've seen enter our industry. Kling Fishing Products makes Mag Grab magnetic fly patches to level up your organizational game on the water. Mag Grabs are made in Montana and feature strong rare earth magnets that offer incredible holding power. You can attach them anywhere you need, from your hat to your pack, your cooler, your boat, the dash of your car, or the bed of your truck. Wherever you attach the Mag Grab, you know your flies and tools are secure. New for this year is the Mag Grab Rod Rack. The rod rack is a 2-part system designed to hold your fly rod securely during fly changes, fish releases, snack time, and any other situation where you might need to set your rod down for a minute. The base plate securely attaches to the butt of your rod with a strong rubber clasp, while the top magnet is easily attached to your waders, pack, or vest. Get them close and they click together. Your rod is secure. So check out Kling Fishing's full line of Mag Grab products at klingfishing.com or ask for them at your local dealer and find the Kling Mag Grab that works for you. Good anglers know that a reliable fly line can mean everything, but replacing fly lines every season, that adds up. It's costly, it's wasteful, and now it's unnecessary because Restore Line has created the ultimate repair solutions. Restore Line offers products to repair damaged fly lines, to splice fully broken fly lines, and to add a new loop to the end of any fly line. Restore Line's easy-to-use products extend your fly line's life without compromising performance, while also cutting down your environmental impact. So don't toss out your fly line just because it's worn. Restore it, renew it, and keep fishing with confidence. Restore Line, innovation for anglers who care. Learn all about it at restoreline.com. All right, guys, here we go. What flies catch big trout? As we've done for the last few seasons with the full crew format, let's just talk through this. Turn it loose. Let's stay focused, though, on the flies, too, as much as we can. How can the flies meet the moment, match a hatch, be good for prospecting, maybe large parts of a river, or whatever? Who's up? Where do you guys want to start?
I want to re-emphasize the 20-inch mark real quick again.
Oh,
as
you
we,
want to talk
as
about
we get into
define
this.
the terms.
Just defining it, and listeners should understand that every river system doesn't have 20-inch fish.
Oh,
right.
right.
And that's just, you might think it does, but some just
wish
don't.
it does.
Right? Like they just don't. They top out at 18 or 19. So in that particular, just keeping that in mind as we get into these discussions that, if your river has 18 or 19-inch fish and we say, hey, you can catch those on any of these strategies.
Yeah.
That's just something to keep in mind.
Well, so can I dovetail on that and say, if this river is going to hold 20-inch trout kind of as the top end, and in the next river actually does hold some 30-inch trout, or 26, 28, maybe even a 30-inch trout. Are those 30-inch trout eating different flies, different things, real things, than the 20-inch trout? Do you believe that?
I think so.
Hmm.
I think that the biology bears out that trout become more and more pestivorous the bigger they get. And I think, I don't remember the it was like over, I don't know if it was over 14 or 16 inches. There's like a cutoff, and it's not like they stop eating all other life forms, because I think we've all caught probably more big fish on non-streamers. Ultimately, I don't know, maybe not, but I've caught more big fish on non-streamers than streamers, except for night, if you take night out of it. But I think part of that's because I fish more other flies, the majority of the time. But biologically, I do think the bigger fish, I think it's, like not even debatable that they eat more fish. So if you're going to target that, then yeah, there could be something to be said for targeting it with a streamer.
If you go the other direction, then you're talking about brook trout stream, and if you're going for that 11-inch brook trout, is he going to eat something different than that 20-inch trout, right?
I would say it's really hard to generalize and say all trout everywhere do this. I would say that every river system is different, and the food forms in that river system that are in there, you need to match it to give yourself the best chance at a bigger fish.
So that's interesting. Let's talk about that. Sometimes I'm trying to figure out what the trout might be eating and then match it, especially if it's up top, and I'm sure we'll cover a little bit of that. If you can see what they're eating, that's arguably the easiest thing. If you can see the big trout are eating on the surface, well, then match that bug, I think, as best you can.
Yeah.
If you can determine maybe over years of fishing or even a season of fishing what the primary bait fish is in there. That's kind of what you're saying, maybe, Bill, right?
No, I guess
then you'd want to match that. Go ahead, please.
Sorry, no, I'm thinking more along the lines of some tailwater systems have a very specific food form that the fish are used to eating, and so you may need to match that.
Shrimp.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. Or you go to some like tailwater systems that have great blueing olive hatches, and that might be the most prominent hatch all year long. Versus if you go to a freestone river that is more marginal, there may be more bait fish in it than that tailwater system because it's warmer. There may be more crayfish. So for me, it's hard to pick a single fly or like how do I explain? Like
across river systems, you can't say it.
Yeah, because there's such a diverse thing across. Like if you think about just in the United States, like all the different river systems, like what Matt fishes out west, and some of the flies that he has success on, like for instance, the salmon flies, we don't get those. But like out west, that's something that's very prominent, and Matt has probably 50 patterns to match that because
just
that's
a chubby.
Big one, small one, or medium
shoulders.
one.
He's like, yeah,
kind of.
Deli, I get your point. Yeah, maybe the subtitle for the Troutbitten podcast should be "It Depends."
I know.
We
I feel like
say it
that's
all
what
the
it all
time.
comes down to, right?
Every
nuance.
podcast we say the same thing. Nuance, it's variable, and it does make a good point. Though I always think of whether I'm trying to match something or I'm prospecting. I mean, do I kind of know what the fish, or at least I think I know what the fish should be eating or are eating, or am I prospecting for trout with perhaps like attractive patterns instead of really trying to match something? You guys think of it that way?
It's funny. I was doing that this morning.
Austin?
I went out and I fished some marginal water in hopes of a chance at a bigger fish, right?
He's chasing the big ones.
Yeah, every once in a while, but I don't commit my full attention to it. But I was hoping that could be the result of this morning's outing.
It's easier that way.
For your information, I caught lots of stocked rainbows and one wild brown trout.
Yeah, your favorite stocked stream.
But
I know where you are.
I was cycling through different patterns, really with this kind kind of this conversation is lining up with some of my thought process, funny enough. But I was trying to think of a few things. One, of course, just trying to fish where big fish live is step number one.
Okay.
But then, assuming you can do that, cycling through some nymphs that didn't ask the trout a whole lot, that would be maybe a pretty safe option for them, and some easy water. And then also doing the opposite, trying to figure out, all right, if I'm going to throw streamers, maybe I throw something that's not supernatural. And I was throwing Deli's Grinch with that nice tinsel flare and everything in it. And, the one brown trout I caught ate the Grinch, funny enough.
Hey now.
Shout out to Deli. But yeah, not to answer that question with the cop out of it depends, but like sometimes just day to day, it of course changes, regardless of the river you're on. Some days they might want that food form. Sometimes I feel like maybe let's take a stonefly or mayfly nymph. If you're targeting large trout, I sometimes like sizing up those patterns.
Oh, I hear you.
Where maybe the opposite is often spoken about, like I just did for dry flies, but giving them a larger size nymph versus a smaller one seems to be something that works for me.
I like that you said, I was actually even just thinking in my head, like we've talked before about not asking too much of trout. And I think, we know brown trout are conservationists, like they're not trying to expend unnecessary energy. And so I do think some of the bigger fish are lazy, right? They move less and they're staying put. And so they oftentimes aren't going to make big moves for a food form. And sometimes by offering something that asks very little of them, you'll get a take. But I think it is interesting. Like when you talk about maybe sizing up in certain patterns, to me, I'm thinking then of like that imitative versus, the exact replica of a particular life form. When we size up on some of those flies, like if I size up on a stonefly, am I all of a sudden imitating a small crayfish, right?
Yeah.
Am I,
right.
Do we jump life forms? And then all of a sudden now you're a small crayfish. And so then it's like, it's an easier ask.
It's a great point.
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah, I feel like my mind's going all over the place. So I think when I start going to the river, right, and I'm targeting big fish, I let's say I'm going to a really big river, right? I first think like, okay, realistically speaking, in the United States in general, how many really big fish are in this river system? Like, and when I say really big, 24 inches and up, I have this giant river, and there's certainly not a lot. Like, I don't care where you're at. There's just not a lot. If you're talking freestone, river trout.
Not a lake influence.
There's no place in America that has a large abundance of these fish. Maybe a mile below the tailwater. There's some famous tailwaters at the dam where they got a lot of big fish. Okay.
Very unusual situation.
Very unusual. Yeah. So I look at that and I'm like, okay, is it really a particular fly that's going to trigger these fish, or am I fishing a needle in a haystack and I just need to present my fly? So on a big river, I just happen to choose a streamer because personally, I think that's the best way to get your luck at showing that fly, because you're covering a lot more water if there's not like a particular hatch coming up. Or so I choose to prospect big rivers with streamers out of a boat. That's just how I target things. But if you were to give me a small stream, I'm fishing the same nymph I fished for 20 years. It's, a size 4 out here. It's
super fly.
It's a super fly. And I'm tight lining that fly. Like, that's my fly.
I know.
To target big fish.
I had a 6 this morning.
I mean, that's, I'm like, okay, so that 24-inch fish, it's going to eat that bug. Like, I'm very confident I'm not necessarily going to fool that fish with a gargantuan streamer. I am getting to that fish. I'm covering that fish. Where in the big river, it's so hard to do that. And there's like 1 or 2 of those fish in a 5-mile section of river. Like, it's really, I don't want to say luck, but I think some of it comes down to that.
There's plenty of that.
When it comes to big fish. And then like in some of those small streams, I've caught, 20-inch fish on blueing olives. When you see them, right? Like at the right time of the day and the right,
then you can
catch
match.
them on, you can match the hatch. So I would tell people, like, pay attention to the river you're in, understand the biology behind it. Like, if they shocked a 30-inch trout or a 28-inch trout in 120 miles of river, don't kill yourself, bud. It's going to be really hard to find that trout, right? Like and then the theories about, oh man, how can I get that? Well, I bet you can get that trout on a midge at the right time.
At the right time.
But good luck.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You're not prospecting with the midge. Yeah.
Totally. That's my philosophy. Like I really think deep about what environment I'm going into to target these big fish first and foremost to help with the fly selection.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I think there's
Deli.
there's a few events a year, whether it be hatches or something else, that trout, like the bigger trout, will become vulnerable.
Sure.
And so one of them is like post spawn. Post spawn, I feel like they're trying to put that weight back on. And so if we have the right water levels and everything is perfect, a lot of times that's a good time to hunt with streamers. And there's not as much bug activity.
Yeah.
Like if you can find the windows to limit what the fish are going to feed on. So like we talked about the cicada, like the nice thing about that is like that was, it limited your decisions.
So you knew what you were fishing. Yeah.
Right. And so I feel like there's other events throughout the year that happen where like you have the sulfur emergence in central PA, or, could be the stoneflies at the west. There are those different events that happen that kind of help you predict what those bigger fish are going to do. And so if you can have patterns around those events that are, proven over years, I feel like you can, to me, that's been my best way to catch bigger fish.
You're talking about matching a situation. It's not necessarily even a hatch. Like if it's the suckers spawning, then you're trying to actually match that egg pattern.
Or if it's like late, I've had better luck with streamers post spawn than I have pre spawn.
Okay. And that's not necessarily matching, but it's a situation.
But it's a situation where there's not, in let's say January, there's not a lot of bugs hatching. The nymphs are very small. I mean, the fish will eat them, but like they're also trying to put back on that weight that they just spent spawning and the energy. And so like at that time I would have, let's say like I might fish a little bit bigger streamers. Like most times I'm fishing double, like 2 size 6 B10S's or 2
articulated. Do you mean
articulated? And so like maybe at that point in time I'm fishing like double 2s because they're trying to put back on.
How long's your total fly?
That's right. We don't care about hook size, Bill.
I don't know.
Not here, Troutbitten. We're talking about inches long, centimeters.
I mean, let me get my bump board and my
I'm just kidding.
double 2 Grinch. But I don't know. Like that's the way I think about like fly selection. And like and one of the most, probably the most important thing is the hook you put that fly on.
Go ahead.
Like, I guess I've just spent a lot of times fishing certain hooks and I don't like them. I just notice over time that I'm like losing fish. There's certain hooks that I have different confidence rates in.
The ones with barbs on them.
He likes the ones with extra barbs. There's barbs on both sides. There's barbs on 3 sides.
Those treble kind.
Treble, yeah. You're putting 3 hooks on there.
Yeah.
I like
But
those
I don't know.
too.
That's the way I think about fly selection. And like, I don't know, like as far as like when it comes to bigger fish.
Sure.
I think this brings up like an interesting conversation that I've had with a lot of people about streamers. And I think all of us have sort of obviously have our own way of looking at this. But do you think that there's the maybe what we would classically think of as like the gallop method of like big streamers for big fish. And then there's what we see in our water around here, I think most of us, which is that you certainly catch more fish, using smaller streamers. But do you think that there's any one, like, do you think that one of those methods has more merit? And do you think it really does matter where you are in the country, or where you are, what river system you're in?
Yeah, think about where his system is derived from, right? Just big Western tailwaters, right?
And Michigan too.
Right.
In Michigan, but like, does it
Similar,
really,
though.
like I said, when you look at that method,
Yep.
that method on some of these rivers isn't consistently pulling out 22 to 24 inch fish. Like, I don't
Right,
know
I've done
anybody
it
that
here.
does it. So like, you
Right.
could be like, oh yeah, bigger streamers going to get you bigger fish. It's like, where is that? Where's the data on that? Because I don't see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Tactical Fly Fisher was founded by Fly Fishing Team USA angler Devin Olson in 2015 to make the gear and knowledge he'd gained at the World Fly Fishing Championship available to all anglers. Tactical Fly Fisher's goal is simple. They sell the latest and best fly fishing and fly tying equipment and help you learn how to use it through their videos and books. Visit their store at tacticalflyfisher.com and use the code TB15 to get 15% off your first order. That code excludes rods, reels, tying vices, waders, and boots. Since 2010, Smith Creek has designed innovative guide tough gear for serious anglers. Introducing the new Fly View chest pack system, Smith Creek's most advanced accessory yet. Built from marine-grade aluminum and lightweight PE foam, the Fly View is rugged, modular, and made to keep up with you on the water. Fly View's lid features a built-in 3x Fresnel magnifier, giving you a clearer view when you're tying on fine tippet, especially if your eyesight isn't quite what it used to be. With 5 swappable tray styles and an external lid patch with a magnetic fly holder, the Fly View chest pack can comfortably hold well over 100 flies, all in easy reach. Spend less time tying and more time casting with Fly View. Visit them online at smithcreek.co for more information.
The only situation I've come into is the White River, where we
And that's
fished
not
up.
even always true. Yeah.
That's because you're fishing a fingerling, Bill.
Yeah, I mean, we're fishing
you're
to
talking
match
about
the
the stocked
rainbows.
rainbows.
I mean, we were fishing 8 or 9 inch flies to match the rainbows they
Holy
were
hell.
stocking. I mean, we're
Right.
fishing two 1/0 hooks.
That's fake. That's not real. That's like a fake. I'm just saying, like, for the
Yeah.
general public, that's a fake
Right.
situation, because it's like,
It's a setup
if you,
in a way.
If you take that 8 or 9 inch fish that you're doing down at the White and try to do it on the
Right, around
whatever Western River, like, good luck. Like, that's just, it's not,
Yeah.
that's not effective.
here. Yeah. That's
It
where you got
depends.
to know where you're fishing.
But it's
and adapt.
situational. Like when you're pushing 60,000 CFS, you need that fly. Like,
Totally.
I
think it's,
I would think you could. Is there? Well, I don't know if you want to float the Yellowstone at that level, but like I don't know if you could take that same methodology of like, huge system, high flows, really big flies. Again, you're putting fish in a situation where they're probably going to be pushed up against the bank. And so I don't know if the 5-inch fly catches 10 fish, but they're like 18 to 21. But if you throw the 9-inch fly, do you catch one that's 26? That's the like you there's so much, and I've not done it. I can't, I can't say that I've done it enough to say one way or another.
Sure. Right.
You
don't have those crazy high water situations either.
no,
Right.
but I've done it
You
around
almost-
here, and I've sized up a little bit. Like when our rivers get really high, I've sized up a little bit, and it's helped. Some of it comes down to just, we don't have those 22 to 30 inch range of fish where like they can easily get that 8 or 9 inch fly in their mouth.
Yeah, that would be a big fish to reliably get it. Basically, the bigger the streamer, the more refusals I think we all get. Everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
less
for sure.
firm commitment, the less fish in the net. You talk about the White River there. And Kyle Glass? It's Brian Glass's brother.
No.
He was on the wet fly swing with Dave Stewart, and he was talking night fishing. He owns trout trap flies. Does well. I've had 3 clients now tell me about him. They were with him. They like him a lot. Good dude. I listened to him. I was impressed with the stuff he was talking about with night fishing. Trevor, you'd be really interested in a lot of the stuff he was talking about. And you would think, because he guides the White River a lot. And you'd think like, he's probably, he's got a really big mouse pattern. Well, sometimes, but he was talking about the mini mouse and how that's like 1 to 2 inches, if I'm remembering correctly. It's not more than 2 inches, right? It's a small fly.
Yeah.
And again, they're targeting the biggest fish in there, which are like 30 plus inch fish sometimes. And they'll eat that small fly. And I liked Dave Stewart asked him, what size flies should people be fishing? What size mouse? They were talking about mice. What size mouse should people be fishing? And Kyle said, well, I'll fish the smallest fly that I believe will attract the biggest trout.
Yeah, I like that way of looking at it.
Yeah. That is
because I feel like that's what I was thinking
mouse
in
or
my
not.
head too, is like as you get bigger,
Mouse,
obviously, like some smaller fish aren't going to go for it anymore, right?
Right.
Like you're going to
That's
be
kinda what Bill's
eliminating
saying.
smaller. Yeah, you're going to
You
be
gotta get their
eliminating smaller
attention.
fish, right? But if you can find that smallest fly that biggest fish will go for,
Yeah. And Kyle's
like that.
point was that a lot of fish, and we know this about streamers, a lot of fish will come up and just mouth the fly. They're literally trying to just kill it. He said that, trout aren't like other predators where they'll just come and just eat a big 6-7 inch long fly in one gulp. They don't do that very much, but they'll come and mouth it and then pull it down. Because again, we're talking about surface fly in this case, but I think they do the same thing with streamers. They're trying to damage it, to kill it. They're not necessarily trying to eat your 5-inch even streamer in one gulp. They're trying to damage it, kill it. But to Kyle's point, 1.5 inch fly, they'll just eat it. There you go, done.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he said he'd like to use the smallest fly that he can, but still believe that he can attract the biggest trout.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I think of streamers.
Mm-hmm.
When he said that, I was like, oh, ding, ding, ding.
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah, it was a good way to summarize how I think of it, I guess. Like my favorite streamer size is about 2 to 3 inches. That's after a lot of trial and error and experimentation with some much bigger flies. I still got the bigger flies in my box. I go up to about 4 inches. If I do use a big fly, streamer I'm talking about, I'm going to move it a lot because I feel like they get a good chance to see. If they get a good chance to see a 4-inch fly or bigger, like they have a good chance to refuse it too. There's a lot to that. We could talk forever about that, but I get more commitment, and I still think I'm finding the biggest trout in our area anyway at that 2 to 3 inch mark of a streamer, 3.5, starting to push it. Deli, like when I tie your Grinch, I'm 3 inches.
What's that? Double sixes or double
It is.
fours?
It's about like sometimes I'll go 4 1/6 of the B10S.
That's what I fished this morning.
My question: who's catching bigger
Yeah.
fish than you?
Plenty of guys catch way bigger fish than me. I'm not known for big
But I'm
fish.
saying in that same
I don't
area,
know.
you're
Probably
fishing,
not that many.
right? Like it's like,
right. But yeah, across the country for
Right.
sure. I'm sure Deli catches bigger fish
well,
than
that's
me.
yeah. But that I'm
I
just
catch
saying
bigger
where
fish
you're
than Austin.
fishing.
I'll tell you that.
But like
Yeah,
where
absolutely, Austin never catch.
who does? Who doesn't?
Catch some really
He
nice
catches the
suckers. I'll give you
stockies.
that.
Sorry, Matt. Matt's trying to talk seriously.
No, I just like when you put like, I just think of the 2-footers I've caught in my time, right? And
Right.
No, humble brag.
one of them was on a streamer, right?
Just boy, you're like anti-streamer.
No, I'm just saying that, but like it's the situation. So because a lot of those came out of small streams, right? So my whole theory
Right
on this
on,
is
yeah.
if you can present the fly that whatever, like you're saying 2 to 3 inch fly,
Yeah.
that other dude you were talking about, like in that setting, like that fish is eating because you were able to target it, right? Like
yeah, you were
you're able to
up in your
effectively
odds on
target it,
finding
and there's
Yeah.
actually mature fish, 24-inch fish in there. A lot of our waterways don't have abundance of 24-inch fish.
No, for
So
sure.
you could be sitting
for
there
sure.
throwing streamers all day for a fish that doesn't exist, right?
No, like a big streamer too. Yeah. and
sure.
it's-
Like
it's
and
not
you're
gonna
like,
catch
oh
them.
man, I got that 122-inch fish. It's
much.
like, okay, like, you can get a 22-inch fish on a lot of different other flies is what I'm getting at with this stuff.
Do you guys think about this at all? So you're talking about streamers. And so streamers, I feel like to me, most times I get one shot at that fish. I throw that
Agreed.
fly out there, he's going to eat it or he's not. Maybe
Right on.
once in a blue moon, I throw it the 10th time and he comes out of the log and eats it.
Yeah.
But
I
a
know.
lot of times it's the first cast that matters. Where with a nymph, I feel like you don't disturb that fish as much. And so you might be able to present that by the fish 50, 100 times, however many times that you want to stand there. And I feel like that ups your odds. But what I think about sometimes is like, what size, even my nymphs, like what size of nymph will like basically disrupt it too much.
Ooh,
like some sort of like happy median where like you're not displacing that fish because that fly keeps going by them.
Yeah. I don't even think maybe it's the size. Part of it's the size, but it's also just how it like rides through the water.
Go ahead.
So if you're casting let's even say a perdigon or something that sinks like a rock.
Yeah.
And when that fly lands, it's got probably a good splash, and then it just flies to the bottom of the river and then holds its position. Well, if you're constantly dropping a fly in like a rock, and you're seeing
a lot of
something
motion
sink,
there.
yeah, versus it landing and then kind of dropping at a reasonable rate, throughout the current, like that looks a little more natural, maybe a little less
interesting,
intrusive.
Yeah.
So I think the drift too has a lot to do with it, besides just like maybe the color or the size.
That's cool. Matt, can I ask you? You said your 4-inch stonefly, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Round it off. Like, how big is it really? Is it 1.5 inches, 2 inches? He's gonna measure it. While he's measuring it, I'm gonna make my point. I guess I've said this before. I like to downsize my streamers a little bit, and I like to kind of upsize the nymph. And I'm once again kind of looking for that. Yeah, that's. He's holding it up. That's legs. 1.5 inches too, right? I mean, that's 1.5 inches at least.
Easy.
And that's the body.
If you take the legs,
yeah.
I mean, that's
then you're close to
bigger
3.
than my pinky finger.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know about your appendages, Matt, but I got some pretty big ones.
Hey now. So I'm fishing a very large, right?
Yeah.
It's a large pattern. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big pattern. I'm just not.
You're nymphing a big.
I'm nymphing it. I'm not moving it. I'm dead drifting it, and I don't think it's as. I have a heavy beat on it. I have lead on the body, right? So it's a fairly heavy pattern, and there's something to be said about the industry doesn't dive into weight, like as far as like if you have bait fish swimming through the water, they send out waves. Like fish has sensory glands that feel movement in the water. Like if you're throwing an oversized streamer that like creates this weird wake system, like don't think that it's just eyes, like the fishes smell eyes. They feel stuff. So I always think like some of these patterns aren't the same weight as the bait fish, and how much could that play into strikes? You don't hear a lot about it.
No, too much movement, too much weight can make too much movement, even too many things tied onto a fly, whether it be nymph streamer. Underwater can definitely, I think, turn fish off. That's a cool point. That waveform when it's going through the water, their lateral line is gonna sense it.
But I think we're all kind of in the somewhat of an agreement that if we are prospecting for larger fish, that our fly selections, unless there's an event, our prospecting flies are fairly large. Is that, we all agree to that? Like if you're going into a river blind.
Well, sometimes, if we're nymphing, let's say, like maybe I'll put the point fly to be pretty large, and then the tag up above, give them something really small.
Sure.
Yeah, well, if I'm fishing a dry.
2 streamers that way too sometimes. Yeah, we're dries.
If I'm going just prospecting, and I know that they at least once in a while see something like a hopper or stonefly, or in this past year, a cicada. I like a PMX, Parachute Matamex. I don't know if the pattern matters necessarily all that much, but I think we're all coming back to size a lot. We are talking a lot more about size than anything else. And Matt, I'm not prospecting with a size 18, right? I'm not trying to just bring up the biggest fish in a river if there's not an olive hatch or, whatever, a size 18 something hatch. I'm not prospecting with a small fly. So yeah, I'll prospect with a bigger fly, like you said, on top. And Austin's saying somewhat bigger, right? Right, Austin, for underneath?
I was saying, if we're talking tandem rigs, you could do the same thing with dry flies that I was saying you could do with nymphs or streamers.
And your
That's
point
all.
fly would be...
Yeah,
what?
make the point fly, a larger, kind of like what Matt is talking
How many
about,
inches?
size 4, right?
How many inches?
1 to 2 inches.
All right, right on.
Yeah. And then, a 16 or an 18, whatever you want to call that, up top.
Sure, give them 2 options. You could trail it too. I trail a lot.
Yeah, or, exactly. But giving them 2 options is nice.
Yeah, I mean, there's been plenty of times when that setup with the tag
I know.
has gotten a big 21-inch fish, like, and it's just like, what's that all about, right?
Yeah.
What's that fish eating? But it goes to show you that it's, there's a lot that goes into this stuff. And I would argue that, like, you got to have the right technique. You got to have generally somewhat the right patterns, but like, just like anything, the more time you spend on the water, the better chances you have of this. Like, right? Like, we can't ignore that either. The more time you put in there, and if you're fishing a big river, or that has big fish, eventually you're probably going to come across one. One of these big fish.
Yeah, there's nothing more important than locating the fish or choosing spots that could, choosing the best spots. You're so often not going to see them. I say locate. I'm talking about locating good spots, likely spots, I guess, more than even necessarily seeing the fish. But boy, if you can see them, don't leave. So Troutbitten listeners already know the crew's favorite beer is Broken Heel's Hazy IPA from New Trail Brewing Company. But our friends at New Trail are hard at work developing our next favorites. Each one is like a different fly pattern because some fit your current situation better than others. Like this one they call 24/7 because it's the beer we could drink 365, crafted to go anywhere, anytime. 24/7's light body and low alcohol make it a must-have when you've got day-long plans but still want full IPA flavor. Then there's Trail Marker West Coast IPA, inspired by classic pine and orange flavor. Trail Marker is brilliantly clear, nicely bitter, and available in 2 varieties, West Coast IPA and Imperial IPA. You can bet the Troutbitten crew will mix these styles into the cooler with Broken Heels. So check out newtrailbrewingcompany.com to find retailers near you or on the way to the river. So I've been wearing Tajima polarized lenses for over a year now, and I can tell you they've changed my vision and my comfort level on the water. First, I chose a progressive prescription and I haven't looked back. Previously, I was carrying readers on the stream, but by putting my prescription in the glasses, I put my Tajima lenses on at the beginning of the day, and I never take them off. Second, my go-to lens choice is Tajima's Yellow-Green 40 Silver Mirror, because with their high light transmission, they're perfect for the cloudy low-light days that we all love so much. On brighter days, I choose Tajima's Brown 15 Green Mirror because they block more light and eliminate eye strain when the sun is strong. Prescription or not, Tajima takes any of your existing frames and puts the finest polarized lens technology into them for a fraction of the cost of a new pair, with purpose-built lens tints and colors designed for fly fishing and matched for your conditions. Tajima's service is also second to none. My Tajima lenses aren't an accessory. They're a key piece of daily gear. Send in your own frames today. Visit tajima-direct.com. That's TAJIMA-direct.com. Upgrade your lenses and see what you've been missing. Trevor, doctor, you have something. You're muted, sir. He's muted. You're muted.
Come on, Doc.
He's so dumb.
Unbelievable. Sorry. I think that learning to read water is important.
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
And as you like the more, it's river by river for sure, but you get those. And I mean, people should, if they haven't read your articles on finding big fish, those offer some pretty good, helpful tips as far as reading water for bigger
about
fish,
where they might
right?
be. Yeah.
Where they might lie. And, they get the prime lies, right? They're the bigger fish in the water system. They get the prime lies. So they get the lies that really every fish would want. They just are the alpha fish in the waterway. And so they get to pick their pick. So they get the position A1.
I like it. So guys, you think color matters more than flash or vice versa? You know what I mean by flash versus color?
I think it's two different things.
Yeah, exactly. I think
the reaction strike versus which is the flash, and then the color is more like when you're imitating an actual, like around here our olives and our like I don't know, it's hard to beat olive, but like things that were brown and things that look like the color of the food that the trout are eating, I think make a difference.
Even like flash on a sparkle dun, for example, up top on a dry fly. There's a little sparkle there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that can definitely be a trigger.
I went a long time thinking that wild brown trout did not like flash, and I tied no flash in any of my flies. And I've done a lot of experimenting over the last 2 years of just making gaudy flies just to see what would eat them. And I've caught some pretty nice fish on those, gaudy looking flies.
I know.
And so, are we including the bead head in the flash section?
That's fair.
I would, if it's shiny.
You'd think so too, Austin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. If it's shiny, that's flash right there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the amount of flash and, the different skies you have around for that day, whether it's cloudy, I think that plays into it as far as whether the fish are going to eat it or not, maybe.
One of the things I do with color, if I'm not matching a situation or a hatch and I'm kind of prospecting, I feel like the colors of chartreuse, orange, and red, well, those are my favorite anyway. I can get some real attention from fish. And it could just be a little hot spot on a nymph for a streamer or even a dry fly. Or the whole damn fly could be made out of chartreuse, like a green weenie, right? Or the whole fly could be an egg pattern, an orange egg. I get a lot more movement, I would say, from fish. They're willing to travel further out of their lanes to go over 2 or 3 feet to get an egg pattern, not necessarily an egg, but whatever. They're willing to travel 2 or 3 feet over to get that color, that bold color. Often it's an exaggeration of perhaps the natural color that's in the water. When the eggs, for example, are first dropped, they're pretty bright orange, and then they often turn into a yellowish color pretty quickly. I don't know if they're ever as bright of orange as some of the flies I'll use. And even we all use a green weenie, and that's chartreuse, and there are some green rockworms in there that are pretty bright green, but they're not quite chartreuse. And even the green inchworms that drop off the tree, not quite chartreuse. Matt just held up an enormous mop. What the hell was that?
That's the secret.
yarn.
That's the secret trout bitten.
Oh, I thought it looked like a mop,
right?
With his,
This is 15 years old.
You see what I see?
That's awesome.
Anyway, Matt's holding up his favorite color of yarn. I thought it was an enormous mop.
That's a trout bitten special.
Oh yeah, you can't tell people about that.
I won't.
It's a certain color, and trout will move a certain extra distance for that color. Anyway, I do think color matters a lot.
That's a legacy fly.
I know, that's a sloop thing.
Let's
man.
be honest.
Sloop.
Everything that really matters about big fish, we're not going to tell you about. So
That's right. You have to listen 10 years from now.
Go ahead, throw a 10-inch streamer. See
There
what
you go.
happens.
That's what it comes down to. And it put a lot of flash on it, a whole bunch of rubber legs,
All chartreuse.
and get Austin to fish it.
Should we haven't hit about the species too, right? Like we're talking brown trout, but there's some dumber rainbows that might eat something different that do get big in that 20 to 22 inch class where the flash.
We're going to talk about dumb fish, or we talk about the smart fish?
Well,
Matt wants to tell everybody how to catch the big dumb ones.
The big dumb ones.
All right, go ahead.
Or cutties eat, or I've caught big cutties on small flies, right? Where they're maybe not as territorial with the flashy streamers. I just think it's something to consider where you're at.
Okay. Matt's
Instead of
going
just
to
brown
do a
trout.
skills series. Do a skills series after maybe in winter on how to catch big dumb ones. We like to think we catch the big smart ones, but here goes Matt. Go ahead. Tell him the secrets.
What?
It's
like,
not
"That's
you.
all I
Huh?
got."
No. If you get tired of the weary brown trout, you
Then you
can
go for
go
the silly
you can go
ones.
bang out some other ones.
Or
But they
those-
will
or-
eat, they will act
Had the
different.
stats.
I think brown trout targeting big brown trout
Yeah.
is different than targeting big rainbow trout.
Oh, no doubt. And even if those rainbows are wild, they're still going to
Sure.
react. Yeah. In a
They're
very
just
different
different.
way. It's just another way it's hard to talk about what trout do and
Yep.
how to catch them.
And cutthroat trout's a whole other thing. Like there's big cutthroat trout. I mean, there's 20, to 24-inch cutties.
In a river?
They're dumber than anything.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's definitely cut bows. No, the cutties they're smarter than anything because they're native. But there's big giant cutties in places that they'll eat dry flies over a nymph. And I've witnessed it. If we get Weimer on, he'll talk about it. I mean, it's pretty
Paul
impressive.
We're gonna have Paul Weimer on for an in-deep series this winter. We'll get him on.
So it's your region, different species. All I'm getting at is it's important to know what species you're targeting when we're talking about big trout, because people don't always. I mean, we all want to assume it's a big brown trout, but there's big rainbow trout, there's big cutties, and bull trout. I mean, there's all kinds of big fish out there.
I like it. This is a different conversation than I thought we'd have, guys. I thought we'd get into, I don't know, perhaps a little bit more details about the flies. I hope we didn't let anybody down. I don't think we did. Talked a lot about size, right? Do you guys think the size is almost the most important thing? Because we sure talked a lot about it.
Yeah, I do think so.
As far as the fly goes.
I do.
Yeah.
We didn't really hit material a whole lot.
Well, Austin, anything you want to say there?
Well, I don't know. We touched briefly on movement, and sometimes I think flies that have some built-in movement, be it quite exaggerated or very subtle.
Okay,
there's something to it for big fish. I think Matt was kind of talking about how waveforms and feelings. Like I think we can build that into the fly even in our nymphs to a degree, not just our streamers.
So, what's your favorite material?
Just in general?
Can you give us a couple examples, of materials that you like to build that movement in, whether it's in a dry or a nymph or a stream?
Sure. I mean, I think right onto your recent In Deep series with Craig Matthews talking about pheasant tail, the small movement the barbules can have, or
that's a small movement, but it's there
on the micro scale there, depending on if you're a game bird or wild or not. I learned that.
Made a good point.
Chenille too, right? Chenille wrapped flies that moves.
Yeah.
If you have any sort of marabou in a stream or in a nymph, either in the body or the tail, ostrich hurl is another one I like. Soft hackle, love soft hackle. There's lots of different materials, but I think that matters.
For sure. Because you can get movement out of the fly without moving it, right? You can be within a dead drift, whether, again, that's up top or underneath.
Right.
And the materials are still moving because it's a moving river. The currents are animating your fly without you moving.
Yeah, you can have very little influence, or you can be influencing the fly the least amount as possible, being connected to it while getting the movement from just being in the water.
Yeah, some of my favorite streamers are like that. Again, like inch and a half to 3 inch long streamers. And I don't necessarily move them a lot. I talk a lot about the crossover technique, that idea. It's almost a concept more than a certain animation. And the flies that I use for that, I love rabbit strip, for example. That's one you didn't mention. But that's one of my favorite. It's a little heavy to cast. It kind of gets waterlogged. It feels a little heavier because of that. I don't care. But boy, I don't know if anything can beat a little bit of rabbit strip for just having that undulation under the water.
Right. And same thing with like dry flies. Whatever hackles we decide to use for legs, how stiff or soft they are, if there's a trailing shuck, what material that is, how it sits and rides in the surface. I just think there's something to be said there.
I like it. Anything else, guys? Deli, how do you catch the big ones, Del?
Go to the feeders.
Treble hook.
What did he say?
Go to the feeders.
The dog food feeders.
Yeah, I was gonna say the actual food feeders, not the feeder streams.
No, he didn't.
That's not what he means.
Take a handful of cat food or dog food with you and just throw it in a hole and
train them.
Match your own hatch.
Tell you guys, I was fishing one of our streams, and I could see that people had been spending a lot of time up on the bank, like near a fire pit, and there were some chairs out there and stuff. And I cast in a nice little hole down below this piece of yard. And I landed I hooked and landed the biggest rainbow trout I've still ever. I mean, it was 26.
Now you're getting somewhere.
I'm telling you. Man, I'm telling you, this was nothing like the rainbows that you have. This was a stocked rainbow that had been being fed, I don't know, like Oreo cookies and every piece of hot dog and hamburger bun and everything. It was a mess. This thing had been eating cake. But
it probably had diabetes.
Doctor knows what his problem was. That fish was a mess. I'm going to be honest, it was fun to try to land it, and I did land it. It's the only time I ever thought that my net might break. I had that old wooden net. You guys remember that? I'd been like gluing it together. And that's still that's way bigger than any other rainbow I've ever caught. But it was being fed a few things.
I've had dog food float down the stream past me.
From
people. And then, from people fishing upstream of me. And then,
where are you? What are you talking about?
What's that? I'm not
Where
gonna tell
are you?
He fishes the elitist water.
He's like, I'm not telling you. he's club fishing down below the clubs where he's like, here comes the dog food.
You know where I'm at. And coming upstream, someone was fishing downstream, and they literally brought like a bag of dog food that they were throwing out, trying to chum the water.
Oh my goodness.
Artificial situation.
That's messed up.
Bit of a setup. Anyway, anybody read us out?
Love to read.
Designated
Big Fly Trevor.
Dr. Trevor Smith.
All right. Remember, the Troutbitten Project is a free resource for all anglers. The Troutbitten website hosts over 1,500 articles, videos, and podcasts with endless stories, commentaries, tactics, tips, and more. Find what you like through the top menu and through the search page. Navigate by way of the categories and tags, too. Be sure to find the Troutbitten YouTube channel, now featuring Troutbitten Tips series, Fly Fishing the Monorig, and the Troutbitten Fly Box, all in collaboration with Wilds Media. You'll also find the Fish and Film videos and the Riverside series, and the new In Deep series, all in their own playlists on the Troutbitten YouTube. Thank you for listening to the Troutbitten Podcast. Please give the show a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and leave a comment, because it really helps. Until next time, friends, fish hard, enjoy the day, and find your life on the water.
Tom, you drinking Blue Moon?
It's good.
Don't kill yourself, bud.
Try not to dilly-dally out there.
Whoa. Just eat it.
Mysis shrimp.
There you go. Done.
I like those too.
They're dumber than anything.
No, humble brag.
Oh, yeah. You can't tell people about that.
I won't.